Ladies and gentlemen, I can't help but start this by saying I know we're all a little depressed here after the proceedings of Monday Night Football, but we must move on and we got to talk about these picks. Those of you that tuned in, very glad you did. Hopefully you tune in this week as well. We had a pretty decent week, no doubt. 10-6 overall, so not too bad. I will say, to be fair, we'll go through these real quick. I did actually, once I found out Travis Kelce was out, I did switch to the Lions, but I'm not going to give myself credit because I didn't actually notate it on the video itself. 11-5 in my real world, but that's okay. Um, Other than that, nothing really shocking. Bengals looked like absolute cheeks, but they did week one of last year too. They started off pretty weak. The Vikings, I literally said in the video, do not be shocked if the Vikings lose this game because it's just something they would do, and what a shocker. They lost. 49ers looked a lot better than expected. Packers looked a lot better than expected. Um, Broncos couldn't hold off against the Raiders, unfortunately. And the Chargers really just, frankly, the difference maker was a terrible PI right before halftime. That 3-point difference is what lost them the game. So if they didn't choke that on a really no need, there's no need for that PI, then they would have won. Scores, decently on some of these actually. Relatively accurate on some of these scores, but then you look at the Cowboys Giants and it's the worst score prediction you've ever seen. And the Seahawks, you know what? They stink. Good grief. Um, Sad to see. Did I count this wrong? I think I did. I'm so sorry. I did for sure. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many losses? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We didn't. Of course, I'm better than I thought. Anyways. Let's move on to week 2. We're starting off with Thursday night. It's going to be Vikings versus Eagles. Now, as you know, and I've said it before, the none other than the Vikings play better against better teams. I am still giving this one an edge to the Eagles. I think putting scores is stupid anyways, because what does it matter what I think the score is going to be? Because it never ends up being that way. We're not going to do scores this week. If you want me to do scores, let me know. I was actually decently accurate on week 1. Let me just tell you, it's going to be a pretty good game, I think. The Vikings put up a snoozer last week, but I think they're going to bounce back and do pretty well. They just gave up that game for no reason. Just choked it away. Then we've got the Packers and the Falcons. It is a tough one because, I hate picking all these, away teams all the time, especially the Packers. I didn't want to pick them away necessarily against the Bears, but they own the Bears. The Falcons, they're very one-dimensional on offense. I do think that Bijan Robinson is going to have an absolute day, so that is worth noting. He's going to have a day because the Packers' run defense is Swiss cheese. But hey, let's give them credit. I think that they're going to stick this one out because I'm not a big Desmond Ridder guy. I think he struggles, so I'm not expecting too much from him there. So I think the Packers stick this one out if Love plays like he did, but I would not be shocked. Again, this could go either way. It's a toss-up. These dogs are going crazy. All right, they've now ceased to be yapping. We go into the next game here, Raiders Bills. I've got to go Bills. This is, it's so early to say it's a must-win, but the Bills just can't afford to lose this game. Start 0-2 in that division that's so good. They can't. So they're going to need to pull off this dub here. And the Raiders, they're plenty fine. I just don't think they're, that good. The only reason the Bills lost week 1 is because Josh Allen was an absolute liability at QB, and he is at times. He really is. I think he's going to bounce back, though. The man just needs to learn how to make NFL reads and not just chuck it up. He's still throwing the ball like a rookie on really a lot of occasions. It's what he does. It's unfortunate, but hey, he needs to learn how to limit those turnovers eventually. Ravens-Bills should be a really great divisional game here. Did I say Bills? I meant Ravens-Bengals. Ravens didn't look great against the Texans. Lamar Jackson looked pretty bad, against not a great defense, to be honest with you. And the Bengals looked like absolute garbage against a pretty good defense in the Browns. Burrow will step it up. I think they're going to take the win here. Being at home helps them for sure. Being in Cincy, I think they're going to take the W here. It's going to be a good game, though. I think. I, it's a tough divisional game, and the Bengals usually play pretty well against the Ravens historically. So we'll see. Seahawks, Lions. I know the Lions are at home, and they usually choke those games. Just because why not at Ford Field? Seattle lost at home against a Rams team, which a lot of people thought were tanking this year. I'm not very high on them after that. Now, the Lions, I'm pretty high on after beating KC, even though they didn't have any receivers, but they still beat KC. And the Lions looked pretty good in it, and the defense looked pretty stout. And honestly, their defense is more stout than the Rams D, and the Rams D went to an away game and did that. So I like the Lions in this game. Colts Texans is definitely a toss up. I did like what I saw out of Anthony Richardson more than what I liked out of Stroud. Just being honest here, it's just my opinion on the matter. I thought it was a pretty decent game for him, but hey, not great. Not great for Stroud. Growing pains for sure. Anthony Richardson looked pretty good. The only issue is the man needs to learn how to get down. He was getting beaten up all game, and he ended up getting hurt because of it. So he needs to be careful about that. I am going to give it to the Colts, though. Looked pretty good. The connection to Pittman looked pretty decent as well. Just they had no run game at all. That was the big issue here. That's going to be a problem for sure without Jonathan Taylor. So we'll see. See what happens there. The Texans I don't know if they're ready to. I don't know if they're clicking just yet. Chiefs, Jags. It is unfortunate, but I'm going to have to give this one to the Chiefs. Travis Kelce most likely is going to be back. I just can't see the Chiefs starting 0-2. It's the Chiefs, and I wish they would start 0-2, and I like the Jags. I'm very high on the Jags. They played really well against the Colts. They looked really good. The defense, kind of a liability, to be fair. I just think this is one of those games that the Chiefs just end up winning. The Jags, I think, are going to put up a good fight. I really do. Their offense looks really good. Chris Jones is coming back, though, so that's going to be concerning for the Jags. I like the Jags in this game, too, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. Bears, Buccaneers. I hate this game a lot. I really do. It's one of those games that it really is a toss-up on who it goes to. Baker kind of doing a revenge tour of his own. Justin Fields, though, man, he needs to win this game. It's going to be pretty close. I think the Bears do win this one, though. I really do. It's going to be very tough. Justin Fields, look, the man, he's not great at the quarterback position. I've said it forever. I've said it for a long time now. He's not taking that extra step. I don't think he will. He's a great fantasy QB because he gets the rushing yards, but he's not going to be that guy that's going to win you all these games. He's just not. The arm talent's just, the arm talent, it's kind of there. He's got a decent arm. I can't lie to you. The arm is fine. He just can't make NFL reads from just all the tape shows it. I mean, all the tape shows of it. The footwork's not necessarily there. It's just, not panned out. I think they have to win this game, though. I'm giving the Bears this one. Now, Chargers, Titans, you're going to be mad. I'm going an away team again, but here's the Chargers. Played really well against Miami. They just choked it, unfortunately. From a defensive perspective, they were getting beaten up all day. I think it was J.C. Jackson back there in coverage that Tyreek put up 200 yards on. I mean, he was getting picked on left and right. So the defense is concerning, but the Titans had no offense at all last week, so I'm not too concerned about that. The run game is what the Titans are going to be focused on. They're going to be focused on running the ball with Derrick Henry and Spears getting a lot more carries and really touches in general. So I'm going to give the Chargers on this one. The offense looked fantastic week one. I think they'll look fantastic again. We've got the Giants, Cardinals. I'm going away again. The Giants are going to have to pull this one out too. It's hard to say must win in week two. It seems just asinine to do that, but I'm going to say it. The Giants need this one after just a disgusting Week 1 performance. A 40-0 loss was horrific. Um, and the Cardinals, they looked actually decent in Week 1 against the Commanders team, which was missing some defensive, pieces. Um, and they had no offense going for them. But the Cardinals aren't that good. Let's just be real. They're not that good this year. I don't know how the Giants are either. I don't know. It's Week 1. It's hard to make these predictions. But I am going to the Giants bounce back this week. And there we go. 49ers, Rams. It's going to be better than I would have thought. The Rams played pretty well Week 1. Really well, actually. But the 49ers played even better. I got to give this one to the 49ers. Um, it's just that defense is absolutely elite. And the Rams are just without receivers still. Puka Nacua did pretty well Week 1, right? I mean, 10 catches, 15 total targets is pretty significant. But it's just a team that's, it's a very good 49ers D, whereas the secondary of the Seahawks is not what it used to be. So I'm going to give this one here to the Niners. And the offense looked really good for the Niners, by the way. Cowboys or Jets at Dallas. I hate putting the Cowboys 2-0, but I'm going to have to here. Zach Wilson's not your guy if you're the Jets. They only won that one against the Bills because Josh Allen choked it away. He did everything he could to lose that game. Zach Wilson didn't show me anything on offense that I liked. Breece Hall, a little bit injured too. He's a little banged up, which does hurt. I just like the Cowboys in this game. The defense looked dominant. The offense did nothing, though, to be fair. The Jets' defense was really good last week. The Cowboys' offense was not good. They did not do anything at all. They just didn't look special. And they didn't necessarily have to. That's the main thing. The first offensive points they put up, the first touchdown they put up, brought them to 26 points. So they had 20 points just off of, obviously, a couple field goals, but 2 defensive touchdowns. So the offense didn't need to be special. So that's something to consider. Now, Commanders-Broncos is one I definitely don't like. The Broncos couldn't pull it off against the Raiders last week. I do think they do against the Commanders. I don't like the Commanders too much, and to put them at a 2-0 start seems a little wild to me. They just didn't look good enough last week. The Broncos looked okay, way better than they did last year, last season. But, I got to give this one to the Broncos. I think they do pull this one out. Then we've got Dolphins-Patriots. These divisional games are tough, man. I'm telling you. I am going to stick out with the Dolphins because the offense looked unstoppable. Jalen Waddle is injured, so he might be limited if he does play. So that's something to consider. And the Patriots looked better than expected against an Eagles team. Again, it's Week 1, so it's hard to pick, but I think the Dolphins are going to look pretty good here, even in this divisional game. I think it's going to be closer than some people might assume. These Patriots play up to competition. They just always do when you got Bill Belichick coaching. Monday night doubleheader kind of sets me off. There's a doubleheader on Monday already. Because no one wants this crap. I mean, you can't watch both games. It's just not possible, unfortunately. Now, we first start with the Saints-Panthers. Kind of crazy given the Saints 2 wins, 2-0 to start the season. But it's something this will balance out, right? The Saints are a max of 10 wins on the season. Starting off 2-0 is not crazy at all. They're likely going to end something like 9-8, I would bet. But hey, let's give the Saints this one. They looked pretty good Week 1. Pretty good. That's about all I can give them. 2 divisional wins in a row would be pretty nice for them. For sure. And the Panthers, Bryce Young just didn't look fantastic, which is not unexpected. He's, a rookie quarterback, first game in the NFL. He just turned the ball over a little too much, and it's going to happen. That's the first year. That's first year for people. I mean, the man starting with no offensive line and really no receiving. I mean, a very big lack of receiving talent. I won't say no receiving talent, but there's quite a lack of receiving talent there. And from a run game perspective, Miles Sanders isn't that guy. It's just the offense isn't spectacular, so there's only so much he can do. The Saints D looked pretty good in Week 1. It really did. The offense struggled. It really did. So it's kind of a toss-up. I am going to give the Saints here. I think they've got a coaching advantage. That's going to be part of the reason that I like them here. And again, I'm not off on Carr too. Carr's he's a sufficient quarterback. He'll get the job done. Then we've got Browns, Steelers. I am going to go Browns here. Kind of crazy. I've been high on the Browns for a couple of years now, and they've been performing very well. Actually, really have. I think it's a good year for the Browns. I really do. Now, the reason the Steelers look terrific week one. It is going against a fantastic defense in the 49ers. The Browns have a really good defense as well. That needs to be stated. The defense is really good here with the Browns. And there is definitely talks, and there's a decent chance that Kenny Pickett might not even play this week because he may have sustained a concussion week one against the Niners. There's a play in which people think he sustained a concussion, but no one spotted it, so he kept playing. And maybe is why he played so poorly. It's possible. If he doesn't play, obviously, no doubt it's the Browns. If he does play, I still think it's the Browns. The offense didn't look fantastic week one, but the Steelers defense didn't really play up to par. The Steelers offense was horrific. The Browns offense was, pretty bad week one, but their defense was really good. Shut Joe Burrow out to 60 yards or something. I mean, it was terrible. Joe Burrow put up double-digit passing yards. I mean, what more do you need to know? T. Higgins had 0 catches. The Browns D looked pretty good. Hey, that's it for you, week two. I hope you're excited. That's what I got for you. Those are the picks. Hope you folks are happy with that. Have a good one.